Hi guys, how is everyone? So it's been a couple of weeks since I last did a video. I did not think my voice needed to be added to the discussion in any way, shape or form for the last couple of weeks, to be honest with you. I did throw some scales out of a window, which 11,000 of you have now watched. That is mental. Thank you very much. Thank you for all of the amazing emails and comments that I've had about it as well. I will be doing a full video on body confidence at some point in the future, but it's a really important topic to me and I really want to get it right. So the last couple of weeks, humanity seems to have lost its collective shit and lots of us feel overwhelmed in that. I don't know how to make sense of that. I think there's lots of discussions that need to be had, lots of people who need to be heard, and lots of things that need to be ironed out as time goes on. The way that I do feel though is that 2020 will go down on record as the year of the Great Divide. I started the year with fights in the country over Brexit and who was right and wrong, and then we moved on to fights over whether or not climate change was a thing and picking on a 16-year-old activist, and then we had Caroline Flack and whether she was right or wrong, and then we moved on to the coronavirus, and then we moved on to Black Lives Matter, which I am in no way saying doesn't need to happen. It absolutely does. It's really important. And then we moved on to last week, another big scandal with J.K. Rowling, and it's really stood out to me how black and white so many of us are becoming. And I don't mean that in terms of our external lives, I mean it in terms of our thinking. One of the things that's come up and caused huge rows this week are things like statues of Winston Churchill and whether they should be pulled down or whether they should be allowed to stand. J.K. Rowling, another great example, said something that a lot of people found really offensive about whether or not transgender women or men were valid in their sexual identity. Throughout history, we seem to have this need to pick a side, and we also have this need to make our heroes and the people we look up to perfect, plaster saints, people who don't do anything wrong. And if they do anything wrong, rather more toxically, we've now developed something called cancel culture. So say something that we don't like, even if you've always been someone who is a hero to us, we'll cancel you. So everything you've ever done, every book you've written, all the good work you've done, they're worth nothing now because of it. That's incredibly toxic and also sets an impossible standard for any human to live up to. Winston Churchill was a racist. He also helped win the Second World War for the free world. Bad, good. You can be two things at once. No one is all good or all bad. And the pressure to be a perfect human and to never say anything wrong and to be too scared of sharing an opinion in case you are the next person who is shut down because you haven't said it right. Well, that's just going to be detrimental to all of us. Real progression as a species, whether it's when we're talking about the climate, whether it's when we're talking about our health, whether it's when we're talking about issues like gender or sex or race or finance, takes discussion, sensible, considered discussion, where we all understand that there will be right and wrong, there will be good and bad, there will be differences in opinion. That's what makes us human. Anyone suggesting that you have to adhere to one view or you need to be not heard anymore is effectively working towards a dictatorship. Might be a pretty fluffy dictatorship that you think is right because your feelings are hurt if it's not, but it's still a dictatorship. We can't eradicate history. We have to learn from it. That's why Auschwitz stands. So I think if you want to keep those statues, put them somewhere where we can talk openly about what it means to do incredible things and really bad ones, and how humans are capable of both in one person. That's what it means to be a human. We make mistakes. We say stupid shit. And it's so vital that we are allowed to, publicly, privately, be who we are, because the only way the dark can ever be really eradicated is if it's brought into the light and discussed honestly and transformed not suppressed. Please consider that before you post in future. Please consider that before you demand the eradication of someone's work or history because she said something that you don't like. It's not about feelings. It's about humanity and progression. I'll see you all soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.